The Backyard Conversations Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Backyard's Conversation. We're glad to have you guys here today. We're here with the usual. We're here with Joey. We're here with Jerry, myself, Kevin, and we have a guest returning to the pod to give us the second part of his testimony. We got Joel. Say hello, Joel.
How you guys doing?
We're happy to have him here. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. If you haven't liked the video, go ahead and give it a like. You really help us out when you do that. Share it with family, with friends. If you haven't watched the first part of his testimony, the link is in the description. Highly recommend you guys to go watch it. It's so powerful. And today we're actually going to listen to the aftermath, the coming out of the darkness, coming out of that state that he was in. And yeah, we're excited about it. So, Joel.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a quick synopsis, quick piece.
If y'all didn't know, we have a part 1 to this conversation. So he's going to really, really fast, like 30-second recap, just to give an idea of what we're going to talk about now. If y'all haven't seen it, go watch it. Excuse the mascot. He's just being, he wants some attention.
For real.
The mascot.
we got a special guest in the room too.
Two guests today.
Oh, you got two guests.
One is a furry one.
But go ahead.
We're about the same.
There you go. You're not that hairy. But go ahead, Joy. Just a really fast 30-second recap of what we talked about before.
I was just talking about on the last episode my experience with the demonic, how I was pretty far. My connection was pretty far from God, and how my depression led me to do very dark things.
Thank you for that. So you mentioned depression, and we kind of want to focus the first episode, like you said, we were talking about a lot of spiritual experiences, and we kind of ended on the topic of you coming out of depression. And so we kind of wanted to focus on that in this second part of kind of your story of how you came out. What was your experience during that depression? What caused you to recognize you had to turn around? How did you come out of that? What was the process? And the rest of the story, basically.
Bet. Well, I don't want to go much into detail because I know the big chunks are in the first one, so please watch it. But I do want to share what really, you can say, hit me to turn my life around and take God, the Christian life, serious. Was and I will never forget this. I was 25. I was still working at the warehouse by the church, if you guys remember. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because you're the only person I actually told this to. If you remember, I think last year, at the beginning of the year, we were going to go evangelize. And we were practicing how to evangelize to people, remember?
Yeah.
And then our conversation got really deep. And I confessed to you, I think, my only regret in life. Do you remember that? You don't remember that? You better remember. You better remember when I say this.
We'll see.
I remember. I was working, doing my, inventory count in the warehouse, and my dad called me, and my dad never calls me during work hours. So I was like, okay. And I answered. It had to be an emergency, and I answered. My dad was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "I'm good." He's like, "Hey, do you remember this kid?"
Oh, okay. I remember.
And it all started. Before I get finish that, I wanna guess. That was only a glance. I wanna restart with saying that. So at that time, I was looking for another job because that job was not paying me well. They were overworking me and not giving me enough income. So my dad, you know how my parents used to sell pasteles puertorriqueños,
Yeah.
They met a lot of people through that. So he met this guy. He's like, "Hey, my son works at the post office. They make good money." So I was like, okay. He gave me his contact. I met him in person. Real nice guy. And yeah, we hit it off. We only had 3 conversations. Keep that in mind. And it was just talking about work, and then like, how's your day? You know, like simple conversations. I only met him, like I said, once, and it was like a brief friendship, you can say. And back to what to the beginning, my dad called me at work, and I was like, hey. He was like, hey, do you remember so and so? I was like, yeah, of course. How is he? He died. And I remember I dropped like everything I was doing. And suddenly I found myself crying. And I told him what happened. It was his birthday. It was on October. He went to Puerto Rico and, you know, partying. He was mixing drinks, and his heart just failed. It stopped. And they called his dad, and then his dad called my dad to let me know. And at that moment, I remember that I ran to the bathroom. I have never experienced what I experienced. For some reason, I thought my world was crumbling down. I began to hyperventilate. I've never felt that before. And I was crying my eyes out. And keep in mind, like I said, I only had 3 conversations with this kid. He was 2 years younger than me. So he was 23 at that time because I was 25. And at that moment in that bathroom, where in the warehouse, I was like, I have to get my life together with God, because and back to what I was telling with Joey, why is that my biggest regret? Because 3 times I had conversations with him, really good conversations, you know, work, life, but God, I never brought up God in those conversations. And that's what we're called to do, right? To give, you know, to spread the word, you know, to preach for those that have never heard the word. I never did that. And I thought about that while I was crying. I was like, man, so this kid, I mean, I pray that in his last moments, somebody reached out like, hey, do you know Jesus? Do you know my Lord and Savior? Because I failed. Never that I brought that up. And it broke me. It did. I like I told Joey, and I told everybody now watching, that still today, that's my biggest regret. It doesn't haunt me anymore, but it used to stay in the back of my head like, man, you know, I had 3 chances and I struck out all 3 times, you know, and that's when that was when I was like, you know what, I gotta stop drinking, I gotta stop this, I gotta stop that, I gotta take God serious, you know. I could have saved that person, I could have saved that kid, you know, but I didn't. So yeah, that was my turning point, basically.
From you being depressed, and from you saying,
I mean, not really depressed, but like, I mean, depression still lingered here and there, yes, but it was that turning point where I was like, yeah, I gotta cut off any thing that will bring me down.
Okay.
You know, that because depression still lingered. You know, I still had negative thoughts.
So essentially, right, and we go through this in life where we're kind of like going to church and we get so used to the motion that we don't appreciate what we have and what we know. And we, lose track and sight of the mission that we have here on earth. Yeah. And potentially we have the capacity to change somebody's eternity. We have the capacity to change somebody's eternity and life. the way the outcome of life, we have the capacity to share those powerful words that are written in the book, which is the Bible. So you felt like with you kind of not taking God serious. Is that what you're saying? You were kind of not taking God serious. You were not taking things serious in church, or like what was it that you were not doing?
I just, to be honest, I went to church because I grew up in church. So it's like, oh, I have to go Sundays. And yeah, I felt uncomfortable not going to church on Sunday. So if I missed it, I meant to say, if I missed it, I felt uncomfortable. So that was probably the Holy Spirit, like, hey, don't stop going, But me and my ignorance, I didn't know. I was just like, oh, I can't miss church. But at that moment, when my dad gave me that news, I was like, man, I'm not doing what God called me to do. And people think of like, oh, when God calls you, you have to, and I don't want to have a misconception. God calls everybody, and everybody has a different role. People think that, oh, when God calls you, you gotta go preach to the nations, yada yada yada, which you do, but even the small roles count. Just showing the love of God, that's all you have to do. And quite frankly, I didn't do that.
That's actually profound, because if you see the judgment that Jesus gives to the people, right, that we're gonna get eventually, it says, you preached, you did signs, you perform miracles in my name, but depart from me because I don't know you. And what is the examples that he gave? Out of curiosity, you guys remember the examples that Jesus gives? Because he said, when I was in jail,
you didn't visit me.
What other examples?
I was hungry.
You didn't feed me. You didn't clothe me.
So it's the small things, right? It's like, you look at that verse right there, right? Mm-hmm. And you say, oh, we're meant to be preaching, we're meant to be evangelizing, but he's actually saying, fam, I was in jail and you didn't visit me. I was hungry, you didn't feed me. I was begging for food, I was begging in the street, and you just said God bless you and gave me a prayer, but didn't give me any money.
Yeah, and then that's why the only person at that time, I mean, now I shared it with you guys and everybody that's watching, but Joey was the only person that I shared that with, because I knew how profound that was, and a lot of people weren't not gonna understand. I know Joey was gonna understand, and I don't know, we got really intense into that conversation. I don't know if you remember, and I was like almost about to tear up, like he had to hug me and everything, cause it lingered, and it's just, people don't understand how important that is. Some people on the outside were like, oh, okay, well, he died, that sucks, okay, but I'm like, no, bro, you don't understand. God called me. That God put that kid in my path. I could have saved them right there and then. I pray to God that before his death, somebody reached out, which I know somebody did reach out, because God is a just God. But he put in my path first, and I failed, And like you said, the day of judgment, I have to answer to God. Hey, I put so-and-so in your path. What happened? And I have to tell the truth,
Mm-hmm.
There's no way around it.
So how did you make peace with that? Like,
how did I make peace with that?
Is it basically like it became a reality to you? Like,
yes.
Like that's kind of what you're saying. Like it was a family thing. It stopped being that thing that your family just did or you were raised in, and started becoming a real thing that you were like, oh, this has real consequences and real effects.
Yeah, for like some reason. I don't want to like say it didn't have consequences. I always knew God was real, and I did. I always try to put my part at church. Because I believed in God. I believed in His power, but like I said, I wasn't just not taking it serious. I had one foot in, one foot out. And but I don't know why that moment. I still today I can't explain why that significant moment like smacked me back to reality. Like, hey,
sure,
this is not a game. You're playing with lives.
Yeah,
you know,
Exactly.
and you're called to do more, and you're not doing it, and that it was a hard punch of reality.
So
So yeah.
so once you had this happen, and you had that moment where you came to the realization that you're called for more, you said depression was still lingering.
Yeah.
It was still there.
Yeah, like back to what you're like. How did that
So
affect you?
so starting from that point and on, what steps were you taking now to get out of this depression, to now start taking God seriously, start looking for God?
Well, I stopped. One thing that I encourage people is to stop lingering in self-pity. Stop talking bad about yourself. That's a big step, because I had that. For example, and some people that are watching this, are going to watch this, know what I'm talking about. I used to, and actually you know too, I used to tell myself a lot that I'm going to die alone.
Dude, fool. What are you talking
You
about?
know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you remember. I would say a lot that I would die.
Oh
I mean,
gosh.
by the grace of God, you know, I'm married to a beautiful, wonderful, you know, woman. Te amo, mi reina. But yeah, I used to say a lot that I was gonna die alone. That, and yeah, I wasn't gonna find anybody. Just because, you know.
So you changed. One of the things you did was that you changed the way you spoke about yourself.
Yes, I did. Because yeah, the pastor had a series, and you know, words have power.
Mm-hmm.
Words have power. There's no going around it.
Yeah, and I think from all of these that we're hearing, for our viewers, one thing that you can take from this is the fact that nothing is promised. Tomorrow is not promised. Life is fragile. And I think that you witnessing somebody that went to PR to have a good time and to be on vacation, and all of a sudden something unplanned and unforeseen happened, kind of gave you that a wake-up call to realize that life is fragile. Realize that this is not promised, that we got to get ourselves together, because every single day counts. Every single day counts. And I feel like sometimes we get so accustomed to our life and our routine that we don't take that into consideration. You might say goodbye to your mom or dad, you know, for the last time, and you don't even know it, because we don't know, right? We run so many risks when we are driving, when we are at school, when we are at work. We run so many risks, and we are ungrateful for it. And it's not until something happens and awakens you that you realize life is fragile and that God does really take care of you. And just breathing, just being alive is a blessing. Yeah. But people don't understand that, and they don't value life, right? That's why we see all these nonsense happening in our culture. But I really appreciate you being open about it. And I think that turning point, it's something that we can learn from. That number one, life is fragile. Yeah. And number two, like you said, one of the first things that you said is that you started talking to yourself a lot better. And that is very spiritual. That is very spiritual, because eventually your thoughts, if you don't learn how to manage them, they will come to action. And I remember this is a constant fight that I had with you, that I always try to cheer you up, to give you hope. And I'm pretty sure you remember those pet talks that I used to have and say, hey man, you need to get yourself together because God will provide. You need to get yourself together because God will bring a girl, and you need to get yourself right, because if not, you're going to lose that opportunity. You need to get yourself together. And I don't know if you remember, I used to beat you down with this, bro.
Yeah, you did. Yo, his mom used to beat me down with it. I remember. Like, bro, straight up. At church, I will come, and I will come in a regular t-shirt, like, all raggedy. Hey, yo. And your mom's like,
fix yourself.
Yeah, bro, literally, like, no remorse.
Take a shower.
No remorse. I love your mom.
Coming in a raggedy white t-shirt.
Bro, your mom had no remorse. She was like, tu futura esposa viene.
No, I'm not gonna lie though. Like I think from the outside you looked a lot older when there was a switch in mentality. When we saw that switch, when you started like kind of like.
I mean, yeah, because like I didn't groom myself. I mean, right now I look kind of raggedy myself. I look at myself on the camera, but I usually cut, myself, but back then when I was in that, yeah, I wore. He said it. I would wear the same white shirt. My beard was like up to here. I didn't care. Like my depression was so severe that I didn't care how I looked because I was convinced that I was gonna die alone.
Yeah, and I know that one of the conversations we had, I don't know if you remember, you probably don't, but we went out and I was in your car, and this is when you were here and we got to share a little moment here at my house, for a little period of time, and we went out. I don't know if it was to go get food or something, and I was just talking to you, and you said that I'm gonna die alone. You said nobody's gonna find me. I'm not gonna find the one. And I remember that day, I'm not gonna lie, I got really concerned, and to a certain point I got extremely sad. Even though I was in the car with you,
Yeah.
my heart just sunk.
I mean,
I could feel like.
No, cause it's just, and a lot of people that know me don't know that I got to the point that I convinced myself that I was okay with dying alone. It got that bad.
But what led you to that? I mean, obviously we see the first part, and you didn't have healthy relationships in the past. Was there something else other than having unhealthy relationships, or maybe looking for the wrong type of person? I don't know. What? Tell us about that. Like what happened?
Well,
what led you to that?
Like, I didn't. Once I got, in the first video, I said that I was in a 2-year, like, really deep depression, and God helped me through that. But that depression was still lingering, and it converted into, like, I would date girls, I would go out, meet people, yada yada yada. But I never met somebody, and I'm not talking bad about anybody. I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but there was always something, and I'm like, man, I can't find nobody, and seeing my siblings getting married and being happy, seeing you, because you and Maria, like, your progress, which is a beautiful thing. I don't want to bash on you, but one of my closest friends, like you are, and seeing your progress, everybody was moving up while Joel remained the same. Everybody was just, en nivel, and I was still in level 1. So I was happy for everybody. Don't get me wrong, but maybe there was a little bit of jealousy and envy, and when is my time coming, and once again, my thoughts will go back like, why has God abandoned me? And that's another thing that I had to fight, which was my thoughts. People think you can't control your thoughts. Yes, you can. It's a hard battle, but yes, you can, So I think that's a key thing, that just focus, focus on yourself. When you see everybody progressing, don't focus on what you don't have, because that will bring you down. That's what I did.
Can I ask you something? You're talking about, you can fight your thoughts and your mentality. How do we fight?
How do we fight?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, like I said, when because some people say, oh, sometimes I can't control my mouth. No. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You think about it and then you say it. You just don't say it and don't think. There's no such thing. You think about it and then you say. So watch your tongue. You know what I'm saying? And when that thought is coming, and you don't have to be so holy about it. People think you have to be so holy about it. Like, no, you don't. Grab one Bible verse. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And repeat that. And repeat that. And repeat that. And repeat that. It will get to the point that When you think of something that, like, you come up to an obstacle, oh, I can do all things because God's who strengthens me. You know, like my wife knows every night when she can't sleep, she do Psalms 4:8. I can't remember it in English, but in Spanish, en paz me acostaré y así mismo dormiré, porque solo tú, Jehová, me hace vivir confiado. Done. You know, people make it this holy thing, but I'm like, no. You know, like, it's simple. It's the little things. God will help you. What does God say? You're strong. How big has your faith has to be?
Mustard seed.
Mustard seed. You know how small a mustard seed is? Look it up on Google.
Buy it at the store.
And you can move mountains with that amount of faith. You know? So it's like, there's ways to control your thoughts. There's ways to control your words. Put God first.
Yeah, I think that ties to what Scripture says, that continuously renew your mind, and you renew it by using the Word. As a Christian, the main way to do it is by the Word, because the Word of God is alive. When your thoughts are deadly thoughts, use the Word to bring life. I like that. I like that a lot, and I relate to a lot to how when you talk about that you saw others progress, and you were still, and you saw yourself that you were still down, because I don't think others saw you down. I think others saw progress that you didn't see in yourself.
Yeah.
And I know what that feels like, because I felt like that at some point. Like I wasn't depressed. Like I didn't have anxiety. I didn't have depression. None of that. I was just so involved in church that I was so focused on serving in the church and the church and the church and the church, and I never focused on what I can do as a person. And most of the time, the people around me in the church, they were serving in church, but they were focusing on themselves as well. So they were progressing in their careers and their jobs, in relationships. Mm-hmm. They were exploring things, exploring places, and at the same time serving church. Well, on the other hand, I was in a stance where my life was just church, but there was no personal thing. There was no personal growth, no career, no nothing. So I got frustrated, and I didn't even look at myself. I got frustrated with God, because I'm like, I'm putting your people first. I'm putting your church first. I'm serving you first. And why am I not progressing? And it's because nobody was there to tell me, God is going to help you, but you have to start.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take that initial step. He'll guide you.
Mm-hmm.
He'll show you the path, but you have to walk it.
I mean, it's a simple, like, people. It's like a saying. It sounds simple, but it truly isn't. In order to help others, you have to help yourself. People say that freely, but it has so much meaning to it.
Yep.
God wants to help you, but in order for him to help you, you have to help yourself, because God is a gentleman. He will not enter unless you open the door.
Yeah. Not only that, I think there's a Bible verse, right, that says, you're trying to point out the sin of your brother and sister, but you don't realize
the log out of your eye first.
That log that you have in your eye. So
basically, like, it kind of follows the same theme. Take care of yourself first, then worry about the rest. Right, worry about others. I wanted to mention one thing. I don't know if you want to keep going for.
No, go ahead.
You had mentioned that you had this jealousy, that you saw everybody advancing and you were stuck in the same spot. Yeah. And I think that's interesting that you mentioned that, because a lot of times I feel like when we tend to feel that way, that jealousy is misplaced, right? Because like you were saying, don't focus on what you don't have, focus on what you do have. And it kind of plays into that because, you never know what that other person's struggling with, right? You don't know their struggles. Maybe they're not struggling in the same area. Like we'll give an example. Maybe you are still searching for the for the wife, for your one, and you see everybody around you getting married, but you don't know that. Let's say I don't know. I'll give myself, right. Let's say Joel is looking at me. He's like, man, he got married at 20. Man, I wish I could get married. And he's focusing on what I have and what he doesn't have. But on the other hand, he doesn't know that. I don't have any money. I'm struggling financially. I don't have my career set. I'm still not done with school. And maybe he, like for sake of example, maybe he has a good job and he has a good career, but all he's focusing on is this one area that he doesn't have. right? Versus me, it's the opposite. He's getting jealous of me because I do have that one thing, but on the other hand, he has something that I don't. Good finances or a good job or something like that. We don't know the whole picture of everybody's life. Just because we see that one thing that we don't have doesn't mean everything else is put in order. And so we let that one thing make us jealous when in reality we probably have a lot of things that other people don't have.
And the other thing I would say is you don't know the trenches that person went through to get there. Like, for example, man, like, I'm not gonna lie, man, everything that I had has cost me tremendously. Like, I'm serious, bro. Like,
Yo, for real.
people don't understand, fam. Like, yeah, we have a house and all that, but it has cost me, bro.
Right.
The relationship that I have, it has cost me. The ministry, the position that I'm in, it has cost me. To maintain that position, it has cost me. I mean, I have been broken, bro. I've gotten to a point where I wanted to quit, where I wanted to just throw the towel, where I wanted to say, screw this. I don't understand you. I don't understand your people. So I'm done. It has cost me. It has cost me sweat. It has cost me tears. It has cost me going out of a service and just breaking down from stress. And my wife is looking at me all confused because I'm crying. She's seeing a grown man crying and doesn't even know how to express what he's feeling. So it has cost me. And these are the things that happen in the background that people don't see. And to a certain point, I really want to get this into your head, because people are not willing to put in the work. People are not willing to go in through the trenches. Thank God that you stuck through the trenches and you didn't run away.
Bro, God first, bro.
No,
God first.
See, but that's the thing. You stuck through it. And there's some people that, because they don't see any movement, they think they see things stagnant. They see things that are not making progress, when the whole time God is testing your patience and your character and is testing you to see how you're going to react in this season. Everything happens for a reason, and everything has a purpose in life. Like, I can literally say every single lesson of every single stage of my life that I had to learn in order for me to get where I'm at. So yeah, man, it might look pretty on the outside. Like, even with Instagram, you got to be careful, because you see all these couples, you see these celebrity couples,
Annoying,
you see all these relationship, and y'all be posting, like, and I'm gonna call y'all out, man. Y'all be posting goals this, goals that, and
Stop,
whole
please.
time you don't even know, like, the relationship is toxic. They don't really love each other. They're saying that they bought a house, the whole time it's a rental. They saying that they got a new Lambo, and the whole time they're in debt. So it's not what it looks like, man. The things that matter will cost you.
Yeah.
Having a healthy marriage will cost you.
Oh, yeah.
Having a healthy relationship will cost you.
Because that takes sacrifice.
It does. It takes denying yourself. It takes sometimes saying no to your own pleasures and to your own wants, and saying, okay.
But something I want to share before you keep moving on is something you just said that I kept I stuck with it. Another part of dealing with depression too is that in the old video I said that I felt like people abandoned me, but I abandoned them. Another way to deal with depression: there are people that love you and want to help you. Listen to those people. Exhibit A. I can, like, Jerry was one of those people for me. I can mention a lot, and you guys know who you are if you're watching this. You guys know who you are, but I'm gonna use Jerry as an example because he's here. Yeah, this dude never gave up on me, and I saw the love of God through Jerry, So when you're when you're depressed, talking from example, you think the whole world is against you, that you're the main character and everybody else is just a side character or the villain. But nah, in reality, you're the true antagonist, and you just want to push people away. Oh, self-pity, I'm the main character, the stage is mine. But no, that's not true. In the background, there's like people like, hey, you're not alone. God loves you. You know, you need anything? I'm just one call away. Text me, or they reach out to you. You know, he reached out to me so many times. You know, and me being dumb, me being stubborn. Oh yeah, I'm fine. Yada yada yada. You know, we will go out because we have gone out here and there. You know, but I was being stubborn. You know, but there's people, a lot of people that had my back. My family. My family always backed me up in prayer when I didn't even know it. You know, my mom, my brother, my younger brother. Those are the two main people I can tell that I know they always had my back in prayer. Always. Looking back, I'm like, man, I feel ashamed. I'm like, bro, I should have been giving example, but they taught me. You know? So don't when you are in depression or on the verge of depression, don't push people away. You're not allowed to be alone. Because that's where self-harm comes. That's where you're not only but physically but mentally and emotionally, because you kill yourself. You know? You are killing yourself. So I just wanted to share that, you know, adding on.
No, that's pretty good, man. And little joke outside, a little joke here. I think the reason why you didn't want to go out with me is how dirty I did you on pool that one night.
Oh my God, bro, this destroyed me, bro.
This man trying to beat me again and again.
Yo, he's still undefeated. He's still I still haven't beaten you in pool.
Yeah, no, but that leads us to the other question that we actually had is how did the church play a role in your progress of coming out of that depression? How did that make a difference in your life? And I think we have to be very careful when we are in that stage where we are feeling down, because to a certain point when I went through my, down moment or season, man, anything positive bothered me for some reason. It's like, be quiet, man. I don't want to hear it right now. I don't know if that was your case, but
no, I mean it's because you know why it bothered you, and yeah, I can relate, because you knew they were right, and you were wrong,
exactly,
and you didn't want to be wrong. Like, let's be realistic. Nobody wants to be wrong, you know.
But yeah, I don't know if you want to elaborate on that question.
Oh yeah, for sure. Briefly, no, yeah, the church. I mean, pastor always had my back. You always had my back. I mean, the guys always had my back. My family had my back. And even in the middle of me doing, stuff, you know how God calls people unqualified people, You literally did that with me. I was hanging out with the wrong people, getting drunk, and one day you were like, "Hey, you want to be a youth leader?" I looked at him. I will never forget that. I looked at him and I laughed. I was like, "Me? Nah, bro." He's like, "Yeah, you. God wants you to do bigger things," and I accepted the challenge. And that I think that helped me a lot. That helped me in my process, because being a youth leader helped me take a few things more serious,
What about others investing in you?
Others investing
how did others invest in you? Because I think it's important, because Jerry had to do something real fast. I think it's important that we touch it because, like Jerry was saying, a lot of times when you're in that state, you just don't want to hear nobody's help or excuses or your positivity or help. And we tend to think it's just a journey of self-growth. And we hear self-growth, we hear self, and we think, oh, it's just me. Mm-hmm. And then we tend to forget other people have to deposit in me. Other people have to invest in me. And this is a journey that I'm going to take with others. Like, this isn't something that I'm just going to do myself. Like, how could I have the audacity to think I could really get myself out of this rut?
Oh, no, we don't have the power for that. You know how, bro, depression, the power of depression has taken so many lives. What makes anybody think that they
Yeah,
can
they're special.
overcome
They got-
something as powerful as that?
They got the special sauce to get rid of it.
Bruh, they ain't cooking. They ain't cooking.
So how did your community, how did your friends and your family, how did they like invest in you then? How did that help you overcome?
They thinking back, because back then, if you asked me, y'all will never invite me to anything. But that was me.
Bro, don't start with that, bro. I
Yeah,
used to invite you to so many
bro,
boxing matches.
bro,
This man would never go.
Exactly. No. Say it louder.
You would never,
Bro, exactly, bro. Bro, that's exactly the point I want to make. In my thoughts, y'all pushed me away. But you guys kept insisting. Y'all knew where I was. Y'all knew. I didn't have to tell you. You guys already knew. And you guys kept pushing and kept talking to me. Hey, come here. Hey, let's go out. Hey, there's a boxing match. Come watch it with me. Sometimes I will be like, hey, yo, do I have to pay? You be like, nah. I just wanted you here. That counts. Like, thinking back, like, I might get a little emotional right now, And I'm like, damn, bro, Joey did that for me, bro. Thank you. Like, literally, like, and so many other people. Hey, let's go out. Let's do this. Let's do that. You guys knew where I was. It's like, hey, and I know this is everybody's mentality. They were helping me. Like, God loved us first in order for me to love you, And yeah, my church, you guys never gave up on me, ever.
Yeah, and I kind of want to say something too in regards to me reaching out to get you on board to become a youth leader, right? And some of the religious people out there might be saying, oh, like he might not be fit because he was doing this and that. And you got to understand something, right? It's not that we are inaccurately or just woke up and say, hey, let's put this guy on, right? It's not like that, man. Like, everybody has their own flaws. You might be a youth leader right now, but you have a very, very very difficult time not lying. That's also a sin, fam. So your sin might look different than what you were going through, but the beauty of it is that I saw the potential in you, and I saw what God wanted to do, and still to this day, you're still working towards that potential. You're still working towards that goal where I know that God is going to take you, but I had to see the future and what was placed in front of me. I had to see who you could become in order for me to treat you that way. I was not about to treat you like, a sinner and be like, oh, get out of my face or get out of my way, you sinner, you sinful person. And this is the judgmental part of the church that hurts a lot of people and don't allow people to go through the process. How many years have you been sober now?
I'm about to be 28. And I cut it off at 25.
See,
So what is that, like 3 years?
Did we talk about that?
So no, I mean we kind of touched it in the previous video. I mean, there's a season where I know for a fact that we had to deal with abusing alcohol and doing all of that. I mean, they sent you to ER one time. And stuff, and you can watch that on the previous episode. You mentioned that,
Where I
but
almost lost my life. Yeah.
you almost.
You see, I can laugh about it because it was my life.
Yeah, but
Why you
here's
laughing?
Hey, Joel David.
Oh,
Hey,
right.
but here's the take. Here's the take. You have to allow people to grow, and in closed doors. I mean, in closed doors, we had our conversations. In closed doors, we had that one-on-one. In closed doors, we had that. Hey, man, what's up?
Yeah.
Get your crap together.
Yeah.
In closed doors, we had that. That motivational, but at the same time, love and correction. So it's not like we are randomly just picking people. We believe in people, and we believe that God works through people.
Yeah.
And nobody's perfect, man. Like, the fact that you are going to wait to be perfect in order for you to serve, my friend, keep waiting, because that's never going to happen.
It's never going to come. Yeah.
It's never going to happen.
Uh-huh.
You are never going to become perfect. You're never going to be ready enough to serve.
I mean, if it's up to people are not willing to do the right thing. Let's be realistic. They're going to put themselves first, you know, and God called us to be selfless. Put others before yourself, you know, and like you're a phenomenal youth pastor, bro. Like
Thank you, bro.
you put youth before you know, and I seen you cry. I seen you sacrifice, and it's hard, you know, and it's amazing, you know, but realistically, if it's up to us, we ain't doing nothing, bro. You know, and if you see all these heroes from the Bible, a lot of them weren't willing to do a lot of things, but God was like, no, you're called for bigger, you're called for more, so go do. And you know, when I already said it before, when God says something, you do, bro.
Mm-hmm.
What's it worth it, man? Was going through depression, believing in God, putting your hope in God, finally seeing the light in the middle of all of that? I mean, how did your wife come along? How did that play along? When did things turn around? Because I remember there was a night, worship night that was very specific to you.
Yeah.
But you can probably start there if you want. But what's it worth it, man? Was it worth it?
I mean,
Cue the music.
Oh, I mean, this ring says it's worth it. So yeah, kind of, you know. And I remember that worship. It was a worship night. I remember that. And then I remember I was worshiping, freaking praying out loud, singing out loud, and you stopped everything, and you were like, Joel, come to the front. I was like, huh? I was like, oh, okay. And to make a long story short, yeah, you were praying over me, man. I feel the pressure on God right there. Like, I felt the pressure. And yeah, and then I don't know, and that was the beginning of the year. That was like, what was it, like 2020 or 2021? Oh my God, I'm blanking out. One of them two. But yeah, and everything just went well that year. Since that, and since then, everything has been going well. You know, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that once you accept Christ and everything's perfect. No. You will go through trials and tribulations. But I don't know. Once I accepted that for my life, while you prayed over me, and I did the right steps, everything it's been going well. You know, I got married. I got a phenomenal job. And I mean, last month I told you, I didn't tell you guys, I got promoted, you know. Hey. Yeah, everything's been going well.
Still serving at church.
Still serving at church. I got a beautiful place to live, you know. I got a wonderful friends, beautiful community. Like I love my coworkers. I got no complaints. I have no complaints. You know.
After that prayer, how immediate were the results?
Oh, they were super fast. Really? It actually amazed me how fast God worked. I was like, man, you know. I mean, I was single for like almost 6 years. And
this worship? Was this that video you showed me where you guys were praying in a house?
No. So we had a season where we had like a revival season in our youth ministry where we were praying in the house, and I remember you got kind of like drunk off the Holy Spirit and you couldn't even get up.
Oh, I remember
and this man was like literally like
I couldn't. No,
I
couldn't get up. Bro. I remember. I was
yeah.
trying to get up. I'm like, oh, and I think the Holy Spirit was like, no, I'm not done with you yet. Like, no. Exactly, sit down.
Yeah, and I think I did show you a video, and you see people crying on the video, but then when you turn the corner, you see somebody just there on the floor. And
I'm like, oh man, I can't get up.
and it was
Yo,
Joel.
bro, I felt like I did leg day every day.
Yeah.
I was like, God.
No, that wasn't it. That I think you might have been in our church by then. It was a worship night, and we were having a great time during the worship, and the Holy Spirit gave me a word, and I ministered that to you, and we prayed, and we kind of like prayer was that the new season is coming, and the season of seeing failure and seeing those mistakes.
Yeah,
are done.
he said that because once I came, once the whole thing happened and my friend dying and all that, and I was starting got more serious, that's when the word came, and he said that it's not that you won't see failure anymore, but I'm like, you have already gone through much. That's how I took it. Like, I have already gone through much, and you stuck through, even though you were dragging, but you stuck through. Now I seen your perseverance, and like I said, I have not stopped seeing God's glory. I haven't.
That was actually the word. You probably recall it more.
I do. I mean, I trust me, that I will never forget. Because you called me out. Everybody was like, I was like, oh man, all eyes on me. That's crazy.
The Lord said this man was walking. He was a dead man walking. He was crawling. He could have been in The Walking Dead, and he still believed in me.
So yeah, but what was that? So you're coming out of it. People are praying for you. People are investing in you. They're not giving up on you. You have this experience, and you start seeing God work in your life. What was that like? Like, how did the hope feel? Like, what did you start seeing in your life, and how did that change feel? How was it? What was it like and all that?
It was great, actually, and in looking back, I thank God that I went through all that, because now I see everything in a whole different perspective, like you said. And I mean, right now, I pointed out so many flaws of myself. I was selfish. I was envious. I was jealous. This, that. I'm proud to say that I was all of the above. Now I see it, like I said, I have a whole new lens, and I mean, I can't say anymore. God has not stopped pouring his grace over me. Like, I have no words to describe what God has done, and he will continue to do, and it feels great. Yeah, waiting sucks. I mean, yes, I was single for 6 years. Mm-hmm. Thought I was gonna die alone. I did a lot of bad things, mm-hmm. And I'm not proud to say that I did, but it was worth it in the end. Now, like I said, I'm happily married. I love my wife to death.
What was that moment like emotionally like?
What?
Getting married.
Finally. Oh man. No, honestly, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders, because I was so nervous, man. I was like, man, this is really happening. Like, I think when I was getting ready, I was like, man, this is really happening. I was like, holy cow.
Like, am I dreaming or?
Right. I was like, wow. So everything led up to this. I ain't got no complaints.
Like in retrospect, like, you seeing what you were depressed about finally came to be after, you kind of started coming out of it. Like,
yeah,
I imagine that must have been like you in your head, you're like, man, what? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I guess it's funny because I always relate to this picture. Depression and negativity and all that crap was my comfort zone, you could say. And I always relate to this picture. So it's this image. I always see it on Facebook and stuff. This little girl, her favorite stuffed animal, and she doesn't want to let it go. This is how I can tell from a picture. It's just a picture, but a picture can say 1,000 things. And she's looking up at Jesus, and Jesus is like this with his hand behind it. He has a bigger doll, prettier doll. He's like, I got something better. And the little girl says, but I don't want to let it go. I was that little girl. depression was my comfort zone. I don't want to let it go, you know. But once you let go, God's like, I got you something better. So that's that. I don't know. It sounds weird, but that's how I felt. God was like, I got that, bro. Here.
That's a sermon right there. That's a sermon. You have to let go in order to receive and grow.
Yeah.
One thing that I do want to mention that it's essential, and Apostle Paul actually speaks about this, is that he delight in his weaknesses. Not that he didn't hide them. He didn't. I don't want to use the word delight. I take that back. But he didn't hide them. He said, these are my weaknesses. And I'm not ashamed of it. But it is all for the glory of God.
Yeah.
That in my weaknesses, he can work.
Yeah, matter of fact, you said I will boast in my weakness.
Boast. Yeah, that's the word that I was saying.
I will not. He won't boast in his strengths. Oh, I'm good at this. Look at how good. No,
Yeah.
he said I will boast in my weakness.
No, it's funny that
Yeah.
you guys say
Ain't
that.
crazy? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. But that
It's funny that you guys say that because honestly, way even before this, I had a conversation with Sordo. We went out and we were just talking, and everything I have spoken through this episode and last episode, I spoke with him briefly, and he was amazed. He's like, "Man, you know how many people you can reach with this?" And I was ashamed of everything I just shared with you right now, and I was like, nah. He's like, you should share this with people. You know how many people you can you remember that conversation?
Yeah.
You can transform people with this. And I'm like, nah. I was being selfish. I was like, nah.
Man, he a lot of things he would say that you're like, nah.
Like, yeah.
We'd be
Nah.
like, bro, come on.
I was being selfish because I'm like, nah. Because I was scared of being pointed at, you know. But we had that conversation. You opened my eyes, and I prayed about it. And I was like, you know what? He's right. I shouldn't be ashamed. I shouldn't be proud either. But I went through all this because others have to learn, you know, that. And it's funny because I shared the first video when it came out. I shared it with a lot of my friends. And a lot of my friends were like, bro, you went through all that? I thought you were always this holy man, yada yada. I was like, nah. I did terrible things. But God is my strength, you know? And now I am proud to share my weaknesses. To let people know that you're not alone. You know, let God be your strength in your weakness, you know? And through your experience, you can help others. You can transform others, help others, come to the feet of Christ, and yeah, I'm not ashamed to speak about what I've done,
I one thing I recall that I told you was, you experienced the spiritual in a bad way, but you got exposed to it already. That now that you're in the kingdom of light, now you should seek the spiritual things of God, because you've been exposed to the spiritual. Now God wants to expose the light side of the spiritual to you. And then I think I told you guys as well that I've been having the desire to go to the mountain to pray, and then you told me I'm actually afraid to indulge in prayer for that because of what I experienced.
Oh yeah, I did tell. Yeah, because I mean, bro, demons. I know they know me. I was like, hey, I remember you. Yeah, like,
yeah. For those that don't know, if you go watch the first episode, you understand what we're talking about. Why I bring this up? It's because of what he saw. But I truly believe that the season that you're in now, of what you've been telling us, the season that you're in now is like the resting season. It's the resting season where now God brought your boat to an ease of waters, and then he's provided everything you need for your trip, for your journey, and he's there, and he's like, okay, so let's continue. I don't think that this is it. I think there's far more. And for everybody watching, there's a lot of people that they're in this same season as well. That they probably too were depressed. They too were anxious. They too were struggling probably with drugs or alcohol, a lot of things. And now they're in this ease of water. My question would be, now that you're in this stage where things are going well, you're married, you got a good job, what's your aspiration now? Personally and spiritually.
Honestly, I just want to do the will of God. That's all I want to do. I just want to, like with my coworkers, I try to spread as much gospel as I can. And with my wife, I'm teaching her, because she came back to the righteous path, and I'm teaching her, and I'm trying to be the best husband that I can, and also preparing myself, because one day I want to be a dad. At the moment I'm not, but I am uncle, and I want to be a good example for my nephew, and for others, because people see me and they're like, oh, he's a man of God, when I want people to see, and I know y'all gonna laugh because I got the beard and the hair, but I want people to see God when they see me.
Man, this dude always plays Jesus in the church plays.
I knew someone would say something.
Jesus.
But I want to be a reflection of his love, of his grace. And then also when I translated the church, I'm technically preaching, and it's nerve-wracking. But I just want to do the will of God, I want to please him. I don't want to fail him, like I did in the past. So yeah, I just want to show love. I just want to show, not love, the love God. You know what I'm saying? Because people nowadays they got a misconception of love, but we're not gonna get into that now.
That's good to hear. That's great to hear, man. And we're probably gonna start wrapping up, but to touch on really fast something you mentioned earlier, that you would always deny that. Oh, he was telling you, oh, you should share this would have impact. You're like, nah, bro. This man has always had a way with people. I don't know how. I don't know why. He's just. I don't know how you do it. You're just so like good with people, and you just like make them feel so welcome and I don't know, endearing, I guess. And I don't know. To me, I think that's really like a spiritual gift you have. Like I definitely don't have it. Like I try my best,
bro.
But it cost me, And
that's bro. That's
and
honestly,
this man, bro, it's like effortless. I don't know how you do it.
It's
and every
crazy.
time we would tell you, be like, nah, it's not all that, man. It's not. And I'm like, bro, I think you're the only person I know that has it to this extent. And just to get to my point, I think it's inspiring that even when we think that we don't have anything to give, when we think we don't have anything that's of value or of worth, or we don't think God's deposited something in us, like where's my gift at, or where's this at? Like it's there. We just have to see it and open our eyes to it and see the value that other people see in us.
I mean, that's why that when I always try to focus when I say little things, because I don't want to. How can I put this so it doesn't sound like rude? Like you guys have really big roles at church.
Nah.
All I do is welcome people.
Bro, but that's
when
my
I
thing.
like all I do is welcome people and translate.
That's my point.
Like, I'm
you
in
don't know
the
how
background.
important. You don't know how important that is.
Yeah,
bro.
but then you
don't
hear
know how important that is.
testimonies. Then you hear testimonies of people who are now currently serving in church and deep into ministry, saying, "What was one of the things that was a key role for you to stay in our church?" And one of the first things that they mention is the way I was greeted. Who was serving that day? Joe. There was this guy that was. Yeah, there was this guy with a beard and he
was so smiley.
He was so smiley and so friendly that I don't know, it touched me. And multiple people again and again and again and again. It's like what?
Bro, yeah.
What was one of the key things that
there's a track record?
Yeah, there is.
You
yeah,
got a track record of W's.
Yeah,
W's.
what was one of the things that made you decide to stay in the church, Joe? So it's like so simple, but it's like, yeah, you do have the gift.
It all started
of
with,
that.
with this man. Like
Yeah.
you don't, bro. We can do our job well, but at the end of the day, you don't know how much impact that alone has. Like just welcoming or just being somebody that's like a friendly person. Like
Yeah.
Like we can give the best word, and if we don't have that like environment or that attitude,
Right.
like it don't matter. They don't want to stay.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to hear it. But I don't know. You just got it, and you don't, like you saying like, oh, we have big roles, bro. Your roles is so important.
Yeah.
You don't know how many
Yeah.
people the first thing the one thing that set the dominoes to them staying or serving was someone like you.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want. I couldn't find a word to like. I don't want to say big roast, but that's the way I could have put it out because many people had told me like because I remember when I like 4 years into the translating, I felt so discouraged. I was like, man, I'm just a translator. Yada, yada, yada. And then somebody got mad at me when I said that, and they're like, straight up were like, you're selfish. I was like, huh? And they're like, yo, you have no idea how much impact you have. They were like, people that don't speak the language come here, and you're basically preaching.
And to hear your voice.
Yeah, you're preaching. You know, you're preaching. And after that, I took it serious. You know, and then the whole welcoming thing. To be honest, I didn't see it as a big thing. I was just, I was just welcoming people because like I don't know, I like making people feel comfortable, because I know what it's like to feel very uncomfortable. I don't like that feeling, and I don't want anybody to feel that, and like I said, I want to spread the love of God, so that's the best way I could think of, like, nice to see you. How you doing? Hey.
But isn't the love of God welcoming like that? Isn't that a good example of the love of God?
Hey, we're doing a podcast. You're not supposed to be lecturing me in the middle of the podcast.
No,
sir.
I mean, I'm encouraging you, but no, I'm just saying, man. It's like it's inspiring.
You're reflecting. You're reflecting that love.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always picture Jesus being the first one at the door, hugging that person that comes all lost and dirty and sinful, and Jesus is like, welcome. I see a touchable Jesus. That's how I picture Jesus. A touchable, an approachable, a welcoming, kind Jesus.
I mean, we see it in the scripture, right? He didn't, he reached out to the tax collector. He reached out to the women's in the streets, right? If you want to put it in a nice way. He reached out. He reached out to the people that religious people wanted to stay away from. So the genuine charisma that you have, the genuine character that you have surpasses, the standards and the expectations of a religious person, if you want to say it that way. Like you do not look at what they're wearing, you do not look at their makeup, you don't even care where they're from or if they're coming the way they're coming. You just want to make sure that they feel welcome, and that's really good. And even on your bad days, bro, you're a lot better than all of us here, saying hi and welcoming people and even listening. I think one of the things that you have too is that you can tell that you're listening, and that was one of my biggest problems. Sometimes people would talk to me and I was zoned out, but honestly, it's because I was overstimulated. Like my mind was running so much that I'm like, wait, I'm not paying respect to these people, so I gotta cut that off. I gotta start paying attention, right? But you can tell that you're listening. That you can tell that you are genuinely, you care for that person, and that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
But we're gonna wrap up soon, and I just want to say thank you, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. And I want to remind the people that are watching, man, we're new to this. We are getting started, and we really take our time to, put this together. And we would appreciate it if you can help us out by sharing, by liking, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you know somebody that is going through depression, send them the part 1 and part 2 of this story from Joel. I'm pretty sure that it's going to bless them. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting to see that there was light. There's always light. And it's also interesting to see that you've come this far, but you got so far to go.
Oh, man.
You've come this far,
yeah,
but you got so much more ahead of you. And to anybody that's feeling down or going through depression right now, it might be horrible right now. It might be exhausting right now, but that's not your destiny. That's not your identity. Eventually, you will come out of it, and better days are going to be ahead. If you put your faith in Jesus, if you believe that the plans that God has for you are good, which they are. So I think that was one of the core things in your journey as well, that you never stop going to church. I mean, no matter what, literally no matter what, you never stop coming to church.
Yeah.
And some of the days I'd be like, yo, hold on, let me put you in this corner real quick.
But he was there.
But he was there.
Yeah, I can say that I can count on one hand how many times I missed church, bro, in a year.
Yeah, you never missed it.
Never missed church.
And not to be petty, but like I mean, obviously I never did that, you know.
Oh, no.
That never put you in a corner or anything, but you know, it was just like, yo, come over here. Let me
talk to you.
let me talk to you. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's a blessing to see that play out in your life.
Yeah. Any
Your last words.
Any last
Joel?
words? Any last final messages to the folks? Last thoughts.
Just man, how can I say? Just if you find yourself in depression, please seek help. Okay, and for those that are struggling to, should I go to church? Should I not go to church? Go to church, please. Find a community that has your back. And I'm not saying church is perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect church. You will find people, that forget to be Christians when you need help. But there is loving people. There is people that are filled with the Holy Spirit, with the love of God. Don't stop going. Seek God, and stay away from depression, because depression will knock back on your door. And love God first. Seek His kingdom.
Seek the kingdom of heaven.
You forgot something,
Seek
bro.
first the kingdom.
And
all else will be added.
And God bless and stay fresh.
Hey,
Yeah,
man.
It's been real, man. Comment if you have any tips as well that has if you went through depression as well and you found yourself out of it and you are out of it, share some in the comments, man. Share your story in the comments. I'm pretty sure somebody will be blessed just to read those comments. I know for a fact, like for example, in these other podcasts, people actually put their whole testimony in their comments as well, and people actually read them.
That's cool.
So yeah, that's pretty awesome. So if you have any tips, anything that has helped you out, anything that you found extremely helpful, please share it, because you never know what somebody could be going through. You never know what's behind that smile. You never know what's behind that attitude that somebody might be giving you. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna ask you as a favor to share, and don't hold back, because clearly one message that you can get from all of this is that when we hold back, that has to do with selfishness. And don't be selfish. Share your story.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you guys for watching. Give it a like, give it a share, subscribe, hit that bell for future videos, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Yeah.
Take care, fam.
Oh, wait. We gotta end it with the catchphrase.
What's the catchphrase?
Peace.
God bless, stay fresh.